Hello, hello, hello. Hello, powerful souls. Welcome to Wake Up Wednesday Live. I know every once in a while we have an issue with the microphone. So if you can hear me, please let me know. Give me a thumbs up in the comments. Give me a heart, whatever feedback you'd like to give me. I just want to make sure that you can hear me before I get going on my normal topics. But this show is about you, and I am so glad you're here. My name is Laurie Majka. I am the host of the Laurie Majka YouTube channel, where we primarily interview people who have had near-death experiences and out-of-body experiences, astral travel. We talk to mediums, channelers, anything spiritual, anything that helps to wake you up, to remember the power of who you are, things that you can share with other people so that they can wake up too. Because when we all wake up, we just do a better job of showing up in love. And I really think that's the purpose of this game. So this time is for you, is about you. I do always start the segment by talking about synchronicities from the week before, but really I'm here because I would like to hear from you. So if you have questions that you would like to ask me, you can ask me anything. You can ask me about past guests. You can ask me about any spiritual question you have, personal questions. I don't care. If you have a question, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Make sure if you are asking a question that you are putting your name down so that I can get to know you too. I'd love to know who I'm talking to. A lot of times the YouTube names do not match with your real name, so please make sure you're including that for me as well. So while I'm waiting for questions to come in, I will share the synchronicity from the past week that I thought was pretty cool, pretty fun. So this wouldn't normally be a synchronicity that I would share with people. As a matter of fact, the only person I've shared this with is just one person, because and it's my everyday hiking partner who would really get this. But I don't like to share this because I don't want this to be about a random act of kindness that I did that I want to talk about, because normally I don't talk about those things. But the reason I'm going to share this is because there were two really cool synchronicities that are connected to how our loved ones see us. So before I share this, I'm going to take a step back and say that in 2012, I lost my closest soulmate, Mark Abrahamian, who was the lead guitarist of the band Starship. And the reason I always mention who he was is because we were so connected in music to each other that he often sends me music signs, and he played with Starship for 14 years. And so he sends me Starship songs. He also sends me a series of Toto songs, because the last time I saw him alive, he played in a concert with Toto. They played 4 songs. And so those are very much connected with him when I hear them. So I'm going to tell what happened last Saturday. And the other thing that's really cool about the synchronicity is sometimes things happen in our lives and we feel like we're running late, we're behind, we should have done something earlier. But you'll find a lot in your life, if you're paying attention, that you wind up being in the perfect place, in the perfect timing, even if you feel like it's not the perfect timing for you. And so that's what the synchronicity I'm going to share is today. So on Saturday, hiking, and my best friend that I hike with every single day was out of town. And so I had the luxury this day of sleeping in a little bit. And I love to be able to do that. But when I do that, I live in Arizona and it makes it hotter the later that I hike. But on this day, I slept in and I arrived to hike, and I did my mountain hike. It's an 1,100-foot hike. It climbs all the way up in like 1.1 miles, so it's pretty steep. And then you come back down. And I always hike with my dog, Blaze. And maybe she'll make an appearance tonight. I'll call her in a minute. But as I was coming down, as I was at the top of the mountain, I do 10 push-ups. Not very many, but just enough I just do them. And I collect heart rocks, and I've collected heart rocks for many, many, many years. I've collected so many heart rocks that if you go on my website, you'll see me standing next to a I built with my own two hands. It was a kit, and I covered it with hundreds of heart rocks, some of them from the tops of 14ers in Colorado, some of them from the bottom of the Grand Canyon. But heart rocks are kind of my thing. And as I was doing my push ups, I saw a little heart rock, and I thought, oh, whenever I want to give away a heart rock, I never seem to be able to find one in the moment I'm looking. So I put this heart rock in my backpack, and then I hiked down the mountain. And as I was going down the last 5 minutes of my hike on the road, I saw this guy with a younger kid, and the kid was probably 5 years old. It's a pretty steep mountain to take a 5-year-old on, but I do see kids every once in a while, and I love it when the parents start their kids early. But my friend and I have a joke, and we call this forced family fun because a lot of times the kids aren't super excited about doing a hike. But this kid seemed pretty jazzed about it. And as I was going by them, I was like, hey, are you going to hike that mountain? And he was like, yes. And I said, high five. And I gave him a big high five. And then a couple seconds later, I see a woman off to the side, like kind of in my path of where I'm going to be. And the kid, who's a little bit older, maybe like 7 or 8 years old, has his back towards me. And I instantly felt that there was something going on, like it wasn't a good she's pulled over talking to him. I don't know if energetically you guys ever pick up things like that, but that's what I felt. And he turned around, and I'm already fishing for this heart rock. I already know I meant to give this heart rock to this kid. And so I'm fishing mountain too. And he looks at me, and he has tears in his eyes. You could tell he was just crying. So I know he's either nervous about this or doesn't want to do it. And is, again, the forced family fun. And I said, hey, high five. And I said, hold on a second. I have something for you. And I found the heart rock, and I said, I have a heart rock. And the mom said, we collect heart rocks, which is another cool synchronicity. And I gave it to him, and I said, hey, as you're climbing this mountain, I want you to know I've climbed this mountain 2,000 times. It has my energy in it, but more importantly, it has the mountain's energy in it. And as you're hiking up, if you need a little bit of extra energy, just squeeze this rock and it'll help you as you're hiking up. And then he's like, okay. And the mom looked at me and said, you have no idea how much he needed to hear that right now. And I smiled and I said, actually, I do. Because I felt it energetically, I felt it. And I was so excited. And the only person I wanted to tell was my sister, because my sister is my go to for when these crazy synchronicities happen, because they happen to her too. You may remember my sister Stephanie. She's been on a live before. She had her own near-death experiences. She was one of my early interviews on this channel. But anyway, I wanted to tell her, except it was Saturday and she had out-of-town guests in town, and so she couldn't do it. But I turned on my car, and immediately the Starship song Sarah started playing. So Mark was like, I saw, I know. And I want you to understand that our passed away loved ones, there's no barrier, there's no limit to what they know about you in your life. And I know that there's a big part of the community who tunes in to near death experiences because you've probably experienced some kind of a loss, a child, a parent, a friend, a family member, somebody important to you. And we wonder, are they really still around? Are they in heaven? Do they exist? Do they care about me? Do they know about me? Do they know what's going on in my life? Are they there for the important events in my life that now I don't get to have them here in person and they're missing them? Well, let me tell you what I feel like I understand about passed away loved ones, not only with my experiences with Mark and all of the synchronicities I get from him, but also because I've talked to hundreds of people now who have had near death experiences. If you've listened to a near death experience where somebody had a life review, and it happens, I think, in about 40 to 50%, they get a life review. A life review is where every moment of your life, every second of your life is reviewed by you, but not as your human you, as your higher self, as your more evolved self, the self that doesn't judge what this lifetime was. and you review it from every aspect that you experienced, not though from only your perspective. You become the perspective of everyone else who you interacted with, everything that was around you. You can feel how the earth feels with your interactions, how plants and trees, how your ripple effect went to not only the person you were interacting with, but because you had an interaction, good or bad, how that affected that person's rest of their day, other people who they interacted with. You have a massive impact. So think about this. Every loved one who you have on the other side immediately had a life review when they exited this earth incarnation. And that means they experienced their life again, their perspective, but with every interaction they had with you as you. So now your passed away loved ones on the other side actually know you better, more intimately than they ever could have known you while they were here having this earth experience with you. They understand every motivation for every conversation you had, every thought that you had about them, good or bad. They understand how you got to a point where you would think the way that you thought, how you would say the things that you said, how you felt about them really, like in your heart of hearts, how you love them, how they did whatever they did in a way that didn't serve you for the highest purpose. They know it all. So, from their perspective now, not only do they know you better than they ever knew you when you were alive, but they don't have a barrier or judgment the way that we do in a human form. So, they are participating in your life from the other side because the veil isn't, it's not like they've gone to another place. They've just become a different version of energy that is in a different dimension. But dimensions aren't here and there, they're all here. They're just separated by a vibration. So, your passed away loved ones, it's not like they're watching you take a shower. They wouldn't care. They wouldn't care if you were taking a shower, if you were sleeping on the job. Like, they don't care. They're not judging you. They're loving you and supporting you from the other side. So I am sharing that story because in my time of wanting to share this with my human sister living here, and she couldn't hear it, my passed away loved one definitely checked in and let me know that he had heard that whole thing, the whole interaction. He was there. And I thought that was so special. Like, it made my heart sing that he sent that message to me. And then I was home the entire day. I didn't go anywhere. And the next morning, I got in my car really early in the morning to leave. And as soon as I started my car, another Starship song was playing as I turned on my radio, and it was Nothing's Gonna Stop Us, old song from the 80s. So that's my synchronicity for last week. I share these with you because I always say my signs and synchronicities confirm yours. Yours confirm mine. If you have one that you would like to share with me, something that's happened to you, I would love to hear it. I love to hear these in the comments on my YouTube channel. I love to hear them with you guys tonight. And I am just so blessed and happy that you are joining me, that you're taking time out of your busy. All of that being said, I'm going to check in the comments and let's see what you guys want to talk about. What would you like to ask? What would you like to know? What would help you in your earthly experience? Okay, so let's see. Oh, Gina says she's glad that I'm here. Well, I'm glad that you're here. Donna, hi, Donna. Um, Diane says she loves this. Oh, that's awesome. Michael. Oh, Michael, this is you. Michael, aren't you coming on my show tomorrow? I think it's you. I think Michael's going to be my interview for tomorrow, one of my interviews. I do 5 interviews a week right now, and I've got 2 tomorrow. And I had one today, and I just love these conversations. I feel so lucky to be able to have conversations like this on a weekly basis. Let's see. Oh, Donna said you're listening. Awesome. Diane says something I've been wondering, I wanted to ask, based on your conversation with NDEs, how do those on the other side receive our prayers? How do they feel them? Okay. Well, I have not had an experience of experiencing prayers when I was on the other side in my journeys and my experiences, but I definitely have talked to many people who have had near-death experiences who experience prayers. One of the people that I'm thinking of off the top of my head is Karen Thomas. Karen had a really cool NDE. I especially liked hers because it helped people who maybe were stuck with some religious views that would be disturbing around passed away loved ones either being in heaven or not being in heaven. So I'll tell about her experience really quick because I like not only her NDE, but her experience before that. Karen, and you can find Karen's interview on my channel. She is listed in the Start Here playlist where I highlight some of the NDEs that really especially touched me. Hers was one early on. So in Karen's NDE, before when she was a little girl, her dad and mom and she were on a lake and her dad was fishing and her dad dropped dead in the boat of a heart attack and she was 12 years old. And this really affected her. And later in her life, she found religion, specifically Christianity, and she became a self proclaimed born again Christian. And her viewpoint was that only people who were saved were going to go to heaven, nobody else was going to go. And she was very, very bothered after she became a Christian with two people on the other side. She knew her father was not a saved person. In saved, I mean, in the Christianity faith, they believe that you have to ask Jesus to come into your heart or you will not be able to get into heaven. So she knew her dad wasn't. And then her brother died in a motorcycle accident and she knew he was not saved. And so she was very bothered by this. Well, she had a surgery and she died on an operating table. And then she had some experiences where she saw things in the hospital and she saw her children and her husband in the waiting room waiting for her. And then she went on to have this heavenly experience. She experienced grass that each blade was alive. And she had a man who she wasn't sure who it was, but potentially a spirit guide, dressed in kind of like a toga and sandals that were crisscrossed up his legs. And he said, "Follow me." And so she did, and she followed him up this mountain, and they got to this place where there was a river. And standing across the river were two couples and two men. And she didn't immediately recognize the two couples because they were in their 30s, but then had this epiphany or this recognition of those souls that they were two sets of grandparents who had passed away. But then she became completely shocked when she saw her father and she saw her brother in heaven because she didn't expect them to be there. This changed everything about how she looked at religion. She instead, when she came back, decided that religion was really about love and nothing else. Like the rules weren't necessarily what she thought. But the cool thing was how she received prayer. Because she was part of religious groups, there were prayer chains in these churches. And as she was in heaven, she felt these prayers coming up in the form of musical notes. They had an energy signature to them, they had a light, they had senses that were attached to them that don't necessarily equate with senses that we have here. But the most powerful ones were from her daughter, who was sitting in the waiting room praying that her mom was not going to die. And those were what compelled her because she didn't want to come back. Remember, when people die, they're kind of given like almost an amnesia, almost a disconnect with their human incarnation. They get the sense that no matter what, if they choose to stay on the other side or they choose to come back, that everything is going to be okay. So if they're leaving children behind, spouses behind, pets behind, whoever it is, they have the sense that those people are going to be okay if they make the choice to not go to return to their earthly experience. But in this case, she made the decision to not return. And then she felt these prayers from her daughter, and her daughter's prayers came with heavy emotions that were like, "Mom, I need you. Mom, I need you. You have to come back." And so she did. And she's not the only one who's expressed prayers as musical notes, but others have also expressed prayers as having almost a, how do I want to say this? It's almost like a prayer is a living thought, and thoughts are a living energy and frequency that have a signature that reaches the heavenly realm. So the way that NDEers who have experienced prayer talk about prayer on the other side is that there is no prayer that is unheard. Every prayer is heard and received. It's not always answered that we would like them to be answered, because in our human context, we don't always understand the good things that come out of things that we're praying for that we don't get. So there's always things that are unfolding in ways that we can't understand for a higher good, a higher purpose, or reason that we would label maybe as bad or unwanted, or something that we would like to change or have happen differently. But people on the other side do explain that these things are happening, but every prayer is received. So prayer's energy, and it doesn't have to be a formal prayer. Like, you do not have to sit down and say, okay, dear God. Your prayer can simply be thank you, could be a prayer, could be I'm sending energy about the situation. It doesn't have to be a formal thing. It just is an energy that you are sending. And I think the intention behind it is the thing that probably counts the most. And the fact that you wanted to send an energy signature about somebody else is a beautiful, wonderful thing. And I think it's part of why we're here is when we're in a state of being of love, and when we are in our human bodies, we experience love, which is very different than being the embodiment of love. We love the people in our lives, our parents, our siblings, our children, our spouses, our friends, our mentors. We also love chocolate and hiking and all these other experiences. And that's different than being love. So anytime that we can approach a situation with love, I think that that's approaching life with our highest and greatest ability to show up in these experiences. So I know I always do a long answer to these questions because there's so much complexity around these spiritual tenets. So the other thing I always say in my videos and on these conversations is take in what resonates with you, leave behind what does not. And maybe it's not meant for you now. If something doesn't line up with what you believe and how you think, it's okay. Not everybody has all the answers. Anybody who tells you they have all the answers, I wouldn't believe them. One of the things that I like to say is when I go to the other side and I have these understandings, this knowledge that I'm in, understanding things in a different way, it always opens up more questions. So the more I have answers that I receive and think I understand, the more questions that come out of it. So that is the answer to that. Okay. All right. Let's see. Looking at your questions again. So I hope that answered your question, Diane. Eventually, one of the things I'm going to have is a platform, a different platform. My intention is to build this platform so that you can consume all of the content that I've created ad free, and have a community where you can talk to people about it. And I'm trying to build a search engine. So in that search engine, for example, if you had questions about prayers, you would enter that in as your search, and you would get the script, if I'm able to do this, where you can read about all of the times prayer came up in an NDE. And then you would also have a jump link where you could go and watch the NDE that had the prayer talk in it. So I'm trying to do some things to curate your ability to consume whatever it is that you really like about these NDEs. Maybe, maybe you're like me, you're obsessed with life reviews. Maybe you want to see the angel incarnations, but that's something I'm trying to build this summer. Okay, let's see. Can our loved ones that have passed on read our thoughts? Absolutely. I've said many times that your thoughts are just an energy exchange and it's a vibration. On the other side, you sometimes hear NDEers talk about communicating, but they don't usually say that they're using words to do that. They're using telepathic communication. And I need to take a step back on this because on the other side, communication is so much more efficient than it is here. Our words are limiting. And the reason that they're limiting is because you have all of your perceptions and your life experiences. And I can say a word and it might mean a different thing to you than it means to me. This is part of why I have a problem with a Bible that's been transposed and transcribed in many different languages with words that were used thousands of years ago that don't have the same meaning today. I mean, look at the word gay. That's a perfect example. In the 20s, it was like gay, it was happy, and gay means somebody who is of a different sexual orientation. Like words change in 100 years. What did they do in 1,000 years? So there's that part of it. So words and communication with language pretty ineffective. Telepathic communication is not me saying, "Hey, how are you doing today?" And you hear in your mind, "Hey, how are you doing today?" It's more complex than that. Think of it like this. I love to do the Thanksgiving. If you say to me, "What is your Thanksgiving like?" I could sit here for 30 minutes and talk about how I would go to my grandma's house and she would make a specific dressing, stuffing that I loved that was cooked this certain way and who was there. Or telepathically, I could give you that entire packet of information in one snap of a finger, and you would only understand the dynamics and the emotions and the setting and how it felt for me at Thanksgiving, but you would taste the stuffing in the way that I tasted it. You would get every piece of information in that telepathic communication. So your thoughts are not just heard, they're understood on a level that you probably have never thought about before. So if you say to your passed away loved one, "God, I miss you so much," they don't just hear that, they feel it, and they feel it in every way that you miss them. They probably see a sequence of things that you miss about them, things that you miss doing with them. But from their perspective, that missing is not the same to them. Time isn't like this on the other side, it is stacked and it is very, very different. And so for them, they feel like they saw you yesterday and they're going to see you tomorrow. There is no missing, and there wouldn't be anyway because there's a different understanding and they just don't have the human experience and emotions that we have on the other side. They're much more elevated, they're much kinder and loving than anything that we have here. But they don't miss us because to them, they're going to see you tomorrow. But they understand from your perspective that you miss going to the grocery store with them, sitting on a couch with them, having a conversation with them. All of those little nuances, those little moments, those packets of moments, they receive that whole packet of information when you say to them in your mind, "God, I miss you." So it's so much more deep than we can probably imagine with what they understand about anything that you're communicating to them. I will say there is no thought that you have thought to your passed away loved ones that they haven't not only heard, but felt in every emotional way that you meant it when you communicated it to them in your mind. So I hope that helps. And I hope that brings you comfort. I really do. It's tough to be here when we've lost loved ones, and that includes pets. Okay, let's see here. What else do you want to talk about? Oh, excellent. Okay, yes, it is. Yes, okay. Last one I did took 3 hours. I won't do that to you. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's right. Okay. Let's see. Gina, I get Gina, I get messages or downloads that I feel are not my thoughts. So yes, follow the breadcrumbs for sure. Yes, I agree with that. Okay. Judith says, I have blocked memories. Will I remember them during my life review? Do you know if I can remember them while still in this world? Okay, I'll speak to that. I don't think that there's anything in a life review that would be hidden from you. Not only will you see and remember everything, but when you re experience them, you'll also understand why they would have been blocked and how they probably needed to be blocked in order for you to have certain experiences that you came here that you wanted to experience. So there's that part of it. But as far as unblocking them here, that is very dependent. I'm going to give the lottery as an example to help illustrate what I'm talking about whether this would be something that you could do or could not do. I will say if you are meant to know what is blocked, it will happen. If it is not meant for you, it doesn't matter how much energy you exert, how many people you go to have a past life regression, a meditation, a medicine journey or experience, a regression of any kind. If you are not meant, if it is not part of your plan that will serve your highest and greatest purpose, that is not going to happen. So there's that part. The lottery example is that when we talk about wanting things like manifestation, people often get upset because we're told that it's as simple as like The Secret. If you think about it, you will bring it about. But I think that manifestation or trying to bring things into your life, experiences into your life, uncovering these memories you're talking about into your life are a little bit more complicated than that. I think in order to manifest, you have to see it as if it's already happened, and you have to have an emotion and feel the emotion of what it would feel like if you already had that in your life. Not as a limitation, not as a want, but as an already am living it in your life. But here's the caveat. If you spent the multi put all that energy and attention like manifestation, graduate level, you get it and you're going to manifest this. And then the day of the lottery comes and you check your numbers and you didn't match. What the heck? I did all the things. The reason that you didn't win the lottery has nothing to do with your intention, with how hard you tried, or even with how much you believed it. It's that if you won that lottery, it's going to change your life game. And it might change it in such a way that you will now no longer experience the things that you decided on a higher self level that you wanted to experience during this incarnation. And it will not be for you, no matter how much effort you exert towards it. So if you can get to the place where you just can understand that everything is happening for you and not to you, if things are meant to be, they're going to happen. If things are meant to be, you couldn't stop them from happening. How about that? So let go of some of these things that maybe you are ruminating over, obsessing over, spending a lot of energy, and instead come to a place of gratitude and realize that the only place you could be is right here, right now, in the present moment. And if those things are eluding you, and I'm not saying don't work towards things, that's not the point at all. You can work and you should work towards different things that you want to have in your life. Sometimes things take an effort to produce, but there are going to be things that just never turn out the way that you're thinking about them, wanting them to turn out, because they're just not meant to be right now. And that is okay. So when you can get to the point of gratitude with every moment and realizing the future doesn't exist, the past isn't anything that you can change, you'll be your happiest when you're in your present moment. And that's probably the best thing I can say about that. And I'd love to hear if you guys have different thoughts or want to add to that. Okay, let's see here. I get messages or downloads that I feel are not my thoughts. So yes, okay, I read that one before. You have blocked memories. Hi, Catherine. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. I appreciate your wisdom and giving yourself to help others. Oh, thank you. So this is it Laurie, Lori, Laurie G? Thank you. I'm so glad that you're here. I love having these conversations. Classic gun dogs. What? I cannot believe that you are here. Oh my gosh. Oh, and today is Earth Day. I didn't know that. Okay. Tom is classic gun dogs. I have to call Blaze in. Blaze, you're here. You're here, girl. Here she comes. Come here. Classic gun dogs is my dog breeder in Texas. Okay, come here, Blaze. Here's my girl. This is Blaze. She's just a little bit over one. What's today? Oh, she's 1 year and 1 month. This is my everyday hiking partner, my partner in crime. She is the best, most affectionate dog. Oh my God, I am in love with this dog. She minds better than any dog I've ever had in my entire life. She's a little German short-haired pointer. And you guys, if you need a little German short-haired pointer in your life, Tom is your guy. I found him in Austin, Texas. He's an amazing person. He's an amazing dog breeder. He breeds world-class hunting dogs, or in my case, hiking dogs. So anyway, so Blaze is my girl, and come here. You want to come up here again? She's just such a good girl. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so that's my girl Blaze. So dogs are pure love. I feel so lucky to have this dog in my life. So thank you for being here. Okay, let's see. Diane is saying thank you. Yeah, I'm glad everybody is here. You guys are so amazing. Thank you so much. Hi, Tammy. Okay, so Catherine is saying my twin sister and I were telepathic. Oh, yes. So for those of you who don't know, Catherine was on my show quite a while ago, and you can find her interview. But she had a shared death experience, which was very powerful. And she had a twin sister, and they were telepathic. It's more than just the words as knowledge, it's instant knowledge, including feelings, and sometimes even seeing things through their eyes. There is no guessing. And I think that that's the point of what we were talking about earlier about telepathic communication. It takes all the guesswork out. You don't have to wonder where somebody's coming from. You know instantly. And if you guys have been hearing me talk about the telepathy tapes on different episodes that I've done on the channel, you will remember that I call this the 4-minute mile of consciousness. And what I mean by that is it took a long time for the human species to overcome and break the 4-minute mile running barrier that we had established. But once that happened, what happened? Hundreds, probably thousands and thousands of people now have been able to barrier. And there are a group of autistic, nonverbal adults, young adults who are telepathic with their teachers, with their parents, with their siblings, with people who come over to their house, and they go to this place they call the Hill, and they have these telepathic communications with each other. And what that means is that it's coming for the collective. Like, if this is going to come for everybody, everybody is going to, at some point in time, maybe not in my lifetime, maybe not even in my kids' lifetime, but at some point, people are already experiencing telepathic communication. Twins have talked about this. Caregivers for Alzheimer's patients have talked about this. Like, it's in the collective. Teachers with their students, like, it's mean. So that means we better clean up our thoughts, don't you think? If we're going to have the ability for people to hear exactly what we're thinking, we better start to get pretty pretty clear on what we're communicating, we better start dropping the judgments that we have with other people. I mean, can you imagine if somebody walked by and you had a judgment and they heard it? Like, you'd be mortified, right? It's like whatever we say in our car, don't you often think, gosh, it's a good thing? Like, I wouldn't say that in person to somebody, or some things that you say behind people's back that you wouldn't say in person. You wouldn't say it to their face. Well, guess what? There's going to be a time coming pretty soon when people are going to be able to hear that. And we just really better watch our thoughts. I just think it's an important thing. Okay, thank you, Tammy. You're always doing the likes up. Oh, hi, Ian from England. So glad you're here. Gosh, it's got to be late where you are. At night, at night, I see shapes flying across the room and quickly pulsating colors. I'd love to see more. How can I move forward? I don't know. I've been watching Jonathan Ashford. I've had a whole bunch of you tell me I need to interview him, and my sister had already reached out to him. I've reached out to him. He had a very deep and incredible near-death experience, and he came back and changed everything about his life. I am so fascinated by the things he's saying. I have consumed every interview that I can find with him, and I cannot wait to interview him and ask him the questions I want to ask him. And he hasn't responded to me yet, and I keep saying, this happens in divine timing. Like, if I'm not interviewing right now, it's because the timing isn't right. So I know I will get a chance to talk to him at some point. But oh my gosh, he is talking about all these orbs that he's interacting with and how they've evolved since he's come back from his NDE, and they've gotten sharper and bigger and more communicative with him. But orbs are real. I mean, definitely they're spirits. I don't know if you guys have ever had an experience like this, but back in the day when we had film in our cameras and they weren't digital, I remember having orbs in my pictures all the time. I went to Philadelphia, and there were orbs in so many pictures on that film when I had it developed, but not in the pictures before and not in the pictures after. Just in certain pictures, like when I was in these very old buildings that had used to be like hospitals, and definitely had different things going on. But yeah, orbs are real for sure. That's super cool. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, Tammy said, hi, Laurie. Did you have a great week? I've been looking forward to Wednesday since last Thursday. Blessings, beautiful. Oh, thank you. I had such a great week. You guys, I feel like I am in love with my life. How lucky am I that I get to have like 5 deep spiritual conversations a week with people, and then I get to bring them to you, and I get to relive them again as I'm editing them. I get to be here once a week and have these conversations. More and more, my friends who are coming in, I'm connecting with people and having these amazing conversations. I just feel so blessed and so lucky. I can't even describe how happy I am. And something new happened on my channel. If you guys go to a tab, there's a new tab on my channel called Store. I've spent weeks and probably months curating and creating some really cool logos for some products. It's super simple, you guys. I did some hats, I did some tank tops, I did a couple sweatshirts, a couple of coffee mugs, but I've got merch now on my YouTube channel. I didn't mark them up very much. I want them to be super accessible and affordable. I didn't want it, to be like a massive moneymaker, but I will tell you that every dollar helps this channel. Like this month, I did not bring in enough ad revenue to pay for all of my expenses. So I don't know, this channel probably cost me $500 this month. It's fine. I do it. It's a labor of love, but it will be wonderful when one of these days I at least break even on what I'm doing here. So the merchandise is just another way that you guys can support me if you feel drawn to it. If it's something that resonates with you, maybe a gift for somebody, whatever. But maybe towards the end of this, I'll share my screen and I'll go on my live and I'll share the products. But you can go on my YouTube channel. If you just go to Laurie Majka 1111, on the front page, it has tabs across, like you can go to playlists, but there's one called Store now. So I just launched it last night. It got approved by YouTube, and I think it's like 8 products, but I'm super happy about them. And I'd love to hear any feedback you guys have. Do you like it? Do you not like it? I did it very simple. It's white and black. I didn't go crazy with colors, although I could have, and I probably could take any design and put them on something else. I didn't do t-shirts, but I could. I just want it to be super simple for right now and see if you guys like it, see if it's something that resonates or works for you guys. But anyway, so that's new for me. Thank you for asking. Oh, my sister's here. Hi, Steph. Oh my gosh, my sister has been getting the best guests. I am so excited about. Okay, I'm going to show you guys something. I made a change. I talked about this a couple weeks ago, but I made a change. For a long time, I've been doing 3 full-length interviews a week, which is a lot. That's so much with my full-time corporate job. And I just got to the point where I couldn't enjoy things in my personal life because I always felt pressure to edit the next one. And my daughter was here, and instead of enjoying the time that I was spending with her, I kept thinking, oh my gosh, when is she going to go to bed? And I have to go edit. Like, how late am I going to be up editing? But I didn't want to cut my time short with her. So I made a big decision to roll back to 2 full-length interviews a week. And as a result, like, these are the unedited interviews that I have right now that I've got to put on my channel. Like, I have so many videos to edit right now, and I've had so many, oh my gosh, next level, wonderful, insightful conversations, like deep, deep, deep rabbit hole conversations lately. I cannot wait to get this content out to you. And one of the on my platform is maybe I'll release interviews like in the raw where they're not edited. I don't heavily edit anything anyway. It's more like I put branding in. I change the view so that like I'm together with my guests in the beginning and at the end, and then we're in single view when each person is talking. And so it would be really fine for me if people heard my interviews in the raw form, but maybe like you would get to hear interviews weeks in advance of everybody else. So is that something that you would like? Is that something that you would consider joining if I have a paid platform, a private community? I'll probably do more things like one-on-one, or not one-on-one, but like private things that only people who are in the community would get to be a part of, like maybe a live that's just only way that you get certain access, or I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm just looking at different things. Okay, let's see what else. Let me go back to the comments. So Stephanie, my sister, gets all my wonderful guests, and then she takes the time to come here after she works for me. Like every week she comes on the lives, and it's like I just feel really blessed with everybody who supports me on these lives. Okay, somebody's talking to somebody else. What do you think of time slips? Meaning experience time slips into a different era. I don't really know anything about time slips. I personally don't. Oh, Stephanie and I did have an experience one time, and we were at a restaurant together. I was in town on a business trip, and I think we went to breakfast, and I know we went to Perkins because we both worked at Perkins like when we were in college, when we were young. And we were sitting at a table, and we went into like some weird time thing. Ended somehow. We only had like an hour, but it felt like we had like 3 or 4 hours. Like, we both still talk about that. That's the only thing that I've ever had is like that I could say is kind of a difference with time that I experience. I haven't had any time slips, and I really haven't had any conversations. Steph, maybe you can try and find somebody who that's like one of their things is time slips or different dimensional slips. I don't know. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm qualified to answer that question. I'm sorry, but it is a good question. So maybe we can learn more about it. But thank you for asking it. Okay, so Tammy is saying, I hope this isn't redundant. Have you ever experienced anything to do with the Monroe Institute? It's only 2 hours from me since our move. I'm intrigued, but the list is long. How about binaural beats? Okay. The Monroe Institute, my friend Allie and I have looked at going to participate in some type of it's like a 2-day thing there. We just haven't pulled the trigger on doing it. I doubt if I would do it. I can't do it in 2026, and I already have some things in 2027, but maybe in 2028 I would consider it. Binaural beats is so fascinating to me. I talked about this topic to John Stewart Reed, whose interview I highly recommend. It's not ever as popular on my channels. I would love it to be. He created the Cymoscope, where he looked at different sounds and he discovered that they create geometric shapes when put on this platform and connected to energy. And it takes a substrate like salt or sand and creates these amazing geometric shapes. And he had a spontaneous healing doing this with sound in the Great Pyramid. He is a big reason why I went on my trip to Egypt to spend time in the pyramid myself, because of my conversations with him. But he talked about binaural beats for a while when we were having our interview together, since he is a sound expert. I also talked to Evan Alexander about binaural beats. I've talked to other people too. It's just escaping me. Like, you guys, I've done 400 interviews now. I sometimes have a hard time remembering who is who. I know I've had more conversations, but wouldn't this be like a super cool search engine topic? Like, if you were interested in binaural beats, that you could look at the library, like a data lake that has all the information from all of my YouTube interviews, and you could search something like binaural beats and see what all the experts said about it. I think there's like so much value in having like this enclosed repository that is searchable with AI. So it's something that I'm working on. But I love that question. So check out those two if you want a little bit more information. I don't know if you put binaural beats as a search topic. I don't know if that will come up. I don't think YouTube is deep enough to go into descriptions. I think they only catalog thumbnails and probably the titles. Because sometimes I go to search for things and I can't find things on my own channel when I'm trying to do it through the YouTube search engine. It's just not deep enough. Okay, let's see. Ian says, and I'm only going to stay on probably like 10 or 15 more minutes. I want to be respectful of everybody's time, but I will also get through all of the questions that people have asked. I may not do as long of an answer. So Ian says, sometimes I hear a voice in my head during very light, both male and female. I'm assuming you're saying like meditation or something. During very light, both male and female. Could this mediumship recently I got? It's a buzz of anticipation. Welcome to a new life, male. I don't know. My sister's a medium. Steph, if you want to answer or speak to that, I don't hear voices. I get signs in evidential ways, so I don't hear a voice. And so I really can't speak to that. But maybe Steph, you can, or if anybody else has an answer for Ian on that, you could answer it. And it might be that not only are you starting to experience clairvoyant, no, that's clear seeing, clear sentience, clear hearing, but maybe you're also empathic. But I don't know if it's a spirit team or who's speaking to you, but it sounds very positive. It sounds loving. Okay, Donna said, I'm just now getting on, but I'll watch the replay. Okay, Donna. Oh, yes, you're talking about Blaze. I know you are. Yes, Blaze is. Oh, she's such a good girl. Tammy says, have you tried HemiSync or Gateway? I have not. Oh, I know who. Okay, this is not somebody I interviewed, but I'm going to direct you to somebody else who I've heard interviewed. Go look up Tom Campbell. Tom Campbell speaks about binaural beats, and he is also part of the HemiSync and the Monroe Institute and the Gateway projects and all these different things. I haven't had any experiences with any of those, but binaural beats, for those of you who don't know that term, is where there is a separation of a different hertz frequency in one ear compared to the other, but your brain connects the two and makes it easier, supposedly, for you to be able to leave your body to astral travel and have experiences outside, like more consciousness experiences. And so Bob Monroe built the Monroe Institute, he was the one who really discovered this technology, and he worked for many, many years, and he has very specific hertz that you can listen to. My caution is always be careful about what you consume on YouTube, where it says, oh, binaural beats. It doesn't really work that way. Music sound is compressed in different platforms. Like on Spotify, it's compressed. On Apple Music, it's compressed. I don't know about YouTube Music, but on YouTube, sound is compressed. You really need to have more pure sound, and you really need to have these specific hertz. And so you get, and I had John Stewart Reed talk about this at pretty good detail about what he recommended, and that will allow you to have that binaural beats. Tom Campbell does have an app where he sells these meditations that work with the binaural beats. I've tried them a couple times. I have not had any success getting out of my body, but I also have not spent enough time to say whether they're effective or not effective for me personally. So you can explore these things. There are just so many really kind of cool gifts that we're getting through technology that allow us to have experiences like this. So I think that that's pretty cool. Okay, let me go back to so much love. You've been doing Gateway. Oh, so Catherine says she's been doing Gateway for 2 years and haven't moved past tape 6. So it's healing even the orientation tapes. Okay, good. John Ashford will definitely contact you. And I cannot wait to hear your questions. Oh, thank you very much. First time I read a book about a person who experienced a near-death experience, it resonated with me instantly. Yet other people do. I'm not sure what you're asking, Laurie. Yet other people do. I do not believe. I don't know. I think I really like Eben Alexander's story because it has a piece that was evidential for him. And I think it helped a lot of people to believe in NDEs. Um, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people have had NDEs with evidential information, evidential evidence. They've left their body in a hospital setting and they've witnessed what happens when they're supposed to be completely under. So I think that the best barometer for trying to decide if something is real or if it resonates is how it feels here, like in your gut, but also how it feels here, like in your heart. Those are. Oh, you peeked at the store. Oh, let's see. Okay, I'm getting the hoodie and the tank and the mug. Oh my gosh, I love it. That's great. I asked AI, who helped me design some of my stuff. I asked AI what they thought would be the best seller, and AI said the black sweatshirt number one, the black coffee mug with the eye on it, I think number two, and the white tank top with the eye on it number three. That's what it predicted. And then here you are. You said the three things. I think that's funny. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I know I need an intern. I definitely do. Okay, I have a bunch of rabbit holes. Okay. Yes, we're going to go down rabbit holes tomorrow, 100%. Catherine says, I have a couple of weeks of interviews to catch up on, but I am so far in for the rest of this week. Missed you. Oh, that's nice. So here for the paid one, 1111, well worth every cent. Catherine said, what does it mean when your body vibrates? Like you can feel like an earthquake, although no one else can. I heard that there might be some kind of rumble when switching timelines. I don't know anything about that. That is an interesting thought. Tammy said, thank you for reading all of your questions and meaningfully answering. Have a fun-filled week. Uh, oh, I see, Ian, you were saying during light sleep, that's when you're hearing those voices. Well, I think that that makes sense because you're probably in like more of a gamma brainwave state. You're in a brainwave state that would be more receptive. So I would say that that's probably your spirit team, your higher self, somebody on the other side trying to get your attention. So maybe before you go to sleep, ask a question of what you want to know, and then go to sleep that way and see if it happens and it comes in, and see if you can get some answers. But they usually will answer you if you ask. I love the deja vu moments, if that's what it's still called. I think it's still called deja vu. I've walked into several places I know I've never been in this lifetime yet. Everything was instantly familiar. So cool. That is so cool. Thank you for sharing that. Hey, beautiful. Missed you the last 2 Wednesdays. So happy to see you. Oh, you also. Catherine says you've done gateway hemisync during migraine and it has completely taken it away. Oh, now that is interesting. I've said it a lot of times on these different interviews. I believe in the future, everything will be light and frequency and vibration. Every healing modality will be light, frequency, vibration. I really think that that's going to be the wave of what happens in the future. We're definitely changing. Um, Hi, Lori. AI was on point. Oh, that's so good. Okay. I don't know if Tom is still on, but I'm gonna have Blaze come in. What she's laying down here, sleeping next to me. That dog, she's so awesome. Okay, I think I've gotten through all the questions. Oh my gosh, you guys, this time with you went so fast. Thank you so much for the engagement. Thank you so much. I want to remind you, you are a powerful, beautiful, magnificent soul. The power that you are is probably the power that you are thinking is God, source, Jesus, whatever entity you would assign with this massive power on the other side. That's you. You are that powerful. The power of source is not something that you can understand from the perspective of the human mind. We just don't have the capacity to understand the greater power. So I'm reminding you of how powerful you are, reminding you that the more that you show up in love, the more that you stay in the present moment, the more that you understand and take in that everything is happening for you and not to you, the more in love with your life you're going to be. That's really the biggest part of the game. If you're here, you're already awake. I know you are. So you've already done the biggest part of what you've come here to do, which is to wake up and remember the power of who you are. And I want to thank you. Thank you so much for everything you are doing to wake up the collective. We all know it is so needed right now. Okay, one more goodbye from Blaze. Blaze, come here. You're here. She's going to want to eat. So as soon as we're done, she's going to eat. Come here. Come here, stretchy girl. Come on up. Come on. Here she is. So we are saying goodbye. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining. Love and amazing energy to every single one of you. Keep on doing what you're doing. And thank you so much for tuning in and spending some time with me. Bye, everybody. See you next time. See you next week.